Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode with your girl, Audrey Codner from ACG Math Tutoring. I'm just finishing up my setup. As I said yesterday, I am going to be running right from a tutoring session onto you guys. And guess what? That's exactly what's happening. All right, so hopefully you guys are having a lovely evening, a lovely afternoon, a lovely morning, a lovely day. But what we're going to be working on today is percentages. So, we worked on decimals. Thank you. We worked on fractions. I'm feeling right with the world. Now we're going to be working a little bit more with those percentages problems. Now, these are the types of problems that you will see on the ASVAT, on the Accuplacer, in the GED. Any kind of testing. Sometimes they sneak a couple of these in the SATs and ACTs, okay? And then if you're currently in a class, you should be going through percentage at least once in your lifetime. Now, there is basically three ways that we see the percentages problem. Either you have a question that says what, it'll start off like what percent, what number. Okay, the what is going to be your unknown, hence what, right? Of means multiplication. Of is always going to mean multiplication no matter what, okay? And is, that means equals, okay? So if you don't believe me, here we go. So in my handy dandy notebook, if we take a look at multiplication, which is coming down here, we have the word of, okay? You might see it as multiplied by, you might see it as product of, percent of, okay? That means multiplication. So with the word is, sometimes you might even see it as equals or is identical to, is equal to, is the same as. As long as it has that word is in front or involved, that's going to be equals. Now, inequalities. Now we have to please get this straight in our minds. The difference between the inequality and the addition more than, okay? So when you sit here or read the word more than, okay? More than is addition. That is different from is more than, okay? Is more than deals with inequalities, less than or greater than, or less than or equal to, or greater than equal to. If the word is in front of more than, the same thing in front of less than, we're talking about inequalities. If they just say 5 more than 7, they're talking about 5. Let me straighten myself out here. They're talking about 5 plus 7. If they say 5 more than 7, they're talking about actually 7 plus 5. All right? So as long as we get to know the difference of those two, the word is means equals. All right? So going back to our percentages. So when we are translating from a word problem or a question into an algebraic expression or equation, we have to remember when we have that percent, it means something out of 100, okay? If they're just saying what is the percent of, that means we're going to either have to multiply the 100 so we can get that percentage, okay? Or the simple movement of 2 places, okay? So if they give us a decimal, like say 0.20, okay, that's the decimal form. For me to go from a decimal to a percent, I'm moving over 2 places to the right. So now I got 20%. Okay, when I'm going from a percent to a decimal, I'm moving it 2 places over to the left. Okay, the reason why we're using 2, because 100 has 2 zeros. Okay, 2 times, 2 zeros. All right, so Yes, Roy, regular math. Not a problem. Okay, not a problem. And I haven't even totally got all into it, Tom. Okay. Film artist, how are you? All right, small girl, small town girl, welcome in. Misbehaving. Oh, it's a night tonight. We got misbehaving up in here. We got film artists here. We got Quad or Quaid. Sorry, Quaid. Oh, is that Nina? I wonder if that's Nina that I know. That would be hilarious. All right. Well, welcome in. Hello, Paige. Welcome, and thank you for the follow. All right. So let's roll up our sleeves and let's tackle this percentage thing to the point that we are super confident with it. All right. So first one. What percent of 29 is 3? All right. So I know. There's a small inkling inside you. You're like, oh, I don't know if I can do this. Yes, you can. Take it with me step by step. So we got what? Remember what? We don't know. And it's saying what percent. So that what percent, that's going to be my unknown. That's my X. Of. That means we're multiplying. Okay. So we're multiplying the X with what? 29. Is means equal 3. So if I clean this up a little bit to the ways that we know it, we know 29x is equal to 3. So I need to solve this for x. So the best way that I can do this is I want to isolate x by itself. So since it's being multiplied, I need to do the inverse, which is division. Okay, so 29 divided by 29, that gives me 1x. So I bring my x down. And now we have 3 29ths. So based on the day I'm having, I'm whipping out the grand old calculator. But if you want to do lovely long division, this is what 3 29ths look like. Yeah. But they want us to take it to a percent. Okay? They want to take it to a percent. So now, because I can't just simplify 3 and 29, they're both prime numbers. So I can't get anything out of it. But if I did long division, I will definitely have a decimal. And then I have 10344. And there's an 8. Now, they will normally tell you what the decimal places is also. If this is a GED, AccuPlacer, ASVAT type of test, they might leave it as a fraction and use it as a percent sign. I haven't seen that happen in a long time. Or you can take a look at your answer and take a look at the answer choice. Remember, process of elimination is key when you're tackling this down, okay? So taking a look, since I want to multiply this bad boy by 100 because I want to make it into a percent, that means I'm moving this decimal place over 1, 2, right? Remember, 100 has 2 zeros. We're moving it 2 times. So that means I have a 10 point. Now, what will be a nice ending for this? So I got my 10 point. And let's take it to the 100th. Okay? So if I'm stopping between 0 and 3, that means I want to stop here at 34. So that means I need to look at the next number. If it's 5 and above, we're going to give it a shove. That means we're going to add 1 to this 4. But if it's 4 and below, like it is, that means all of this here is gone. So we're just going to leave it at 10.34%. Okay? And instead of an equal sign, I'm going to do an approximation. I'm going to put my little waves to it because I rounded. So this is going to be the percent. So it says what percent of 29 is 3. All right. Now I'm taking a look at my answers. How are we doing? All right. Okay. Everybody's okay so far? Okay. I don't want anybody missing any points off of the percentages. Okay. All right. If you don't understand something, I know there's like quite a good handful of you guys. Just speak up. That's the only way that you're going to be able to get the adjustment that you need. All right. So now we have 41% of 78 is what? What is going to be your X? So we have 41%. They started off as a percent. So we need to change this to a decimal. What would 41% be as a decimal? Put it in the chat. What will 41% be as a decimal? Yaya's mama. Good job. Pog, yes. Jeremy, yes. Ryan, yes. Skip, how are you? Yes. Laurent. I haven't seen this name in a minute. Little too far, Laurent. Little too far. We don't need that 0. Okay? Unless you switch a decimal and split in between. Yes, only love counts. Good job. Film artist. Yes. Amy, how are you? Yes. Good job, guys. So that means I'm going to start right where that percent sign is. And I'm going to move it over 1, 2 spots. So that's going to give me, if we need to put the 0, so we have the placeholder, 0.41. There you go, Laurent. Good job. Worthy of love. Yes. Messed up. That's okay. And we just made the correction. Worthy, trust me. This is not... Oh, sorry. Someone got distracted to me. This is not Squid Game, so we're not going to kill you off. Okay? Everything's going to be good. All right? Then you multiply that by... Yes. Good job. Is that cat? All right? So... because we have of means multiplication. I don't like using the X. Okay? You know a reason why I don't like using the X? Because guess what? X is a variable once we get into algebra. All right? So I'm going to put parentheses around. I'm not going to use a dot because that looks confusing since we're dealing with decimals. Okay? So that's why you're seeing a lot of parentheses tonight. So now... we just go to the handy dandy calculator. Or, since we can't use a calculator, we can do this by hand because we're going to need to do it. Because if you're taking the GED, the Accuplacer, the ASVAT, you cannot use a calculator. Yes, I know. Let the torture begin. Is that Guadalupe? Does of mean multiplication, that means so... Oh, that makes so much sense. Yes. Yeah, because X does not mean multiplication anymore. X is your unknown variable. So now we have our 78 times our 0.41. Okay, we're going to multiply these two. 1 times everything gives itself, so that's 8, and that's 7. 8 times 4 gives me 32. Like we did last night, we could put a 0 here as a placeholder. Since it's 32, we bring down the 2. And then we add the 3. 4 times 7 gives me 28. 29, 30, 31. So we can put the 31 here because we don't have anything else up here to carry over. This doesn't have any placeholders, but this one does. It has 2 of them. So we're going to add. So 8 and 0 gives me 8. 7 and 2 gives me 9. Bring down the 3 and the 1. And then we have our decimal point. Okay, so this doesn't have, the 78 didn't have any decimal points. But the 41 was a 0.41. Yes, film artist, good job. 31.98. So that is what x is going to equal. So 41% of 78 is 3198. Okay, so if you weren't here with me yesterday, we were definitely working on adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing decimals. Now, here's the thing. If you want to see the recording of that, because I am nice, oh, not that nice. All right, you can subscribe to my YouTube channel. Now, when I say subscribe, there's no money involved. Okay, you just click the button. So anytime I put up a new video, you get some kind of notification. All right, that's all it is. So you just type in Audrey Codner, Codner, ACG Math Tutoring. Okay, if you just go and subscribe to my YouTube channel, all of my TikTok lives since early February is listed in there. So anything ranging from slope, the equation of the line, parallel lines, two lines cut with a transversal, area, perimeter, all that shenanigans is all in there. Okay, so make sure you stop by in there. I'll remind you a little bit later. All right, so awesome. Okay, now I didn't know how much space I was going to need, but trust me, I got more problems. And a guy's not one. Okay, so 1 is what percent of 52.6? This time it's already as a decimal. Okay, we already got it down as a decimal. But let's set it up. Okay. Hey, Danny, how are you? Oh, loco. It's okay. We're going to take it step by step, all right? Okay, no more stress. There's not a test at the end of this. We're just basically breaking stuff down. I'm feeling a little bit better today, even though it's been crazy. Completely. Good. Oh, good. Not a problem. Not a problem. Because, if you don't use it all the time, it just kind of goes. So 1 is, remember the word is equals. What percent? Since we don't know it, we're going to put an X there. Of means multiplying. So I'm multiplying the X to what? 52 and 6/10. So what are we going to do to solve for X? All right, Dan, I see that you got the answer there. I see Dare. Is it Dar too cute? Okay. Hey, Janice, how are you? Yep, it's okay, Larry. Trust me. That's awesome, and welcome in. All right, good. Tara, good. We're just going to divide. All right. So, Bob G, how are you? Okay. So now we're going to divide both sides by our 52 and 6/10. Okay? The reason why we're doing this is because we want to isolate our variable. Anytime they ask you to solve an equation, you're doing it to isolate the variable. Okay? So it's almost like it's you're the X, and your boo is 52.6. Your boo messed up. Gotta get them out of your life. They're destroying everything, making the family miserable. So you divide them out of your life. I know. It's too much truth when it comes to math. There's so much drama. Oh, this isn't awkward, right? So, if you want, this is when you get an answer. In this case, it's 1 over 52.6. Okay, equals X. They could leave it like that, but again, you need to take a look at your answer choices. Or you can actually divide the two. So if you divide the two, okay, remember, it's not the 52.6 over 1. That will give me 52.6. This is 1 divided by 52.6. So if you were to do it through long division, I'm going to take it off to the side over here. I'm not recommending it right now. That means your 1 is going to go underneath the division. Then you have your 52.6 as your divisor. So this is your dividend, this is your divisor. So right now, we have a decimal point inside. So that's not going to work. We have to move it, so it has to be a whole number. And we don't have to revert back. But in order for me to get, I need to put a decimal point, and I need to put some zeros. Since this is 3 digits, I'm going to add 3 zeros. Okay? So I know when you take a look, it's like you're going to add all those zeros. Now, are you going to see something like this on the GED? Like this as an answer? No. And if they do, they'll just leave it just like this. They're not going to have you do this because this is going to take you so much time. Okay, so just a pre-warning. All right, so I know we're all like, oh, thank you, God. Right? So that's what I'm saying. If I put it in my handy dandy calculator, this is what I got. Can you imagine trying to do all this through long division and bringing down zeros after zero after zero? Whew, I ain't got time. Nope. All right. But they're asking what percent. Okay. So they're asking what percent. So since we have that decimal of it, right? Couldn't be me either. I had a concussion as a kid. I could never ever do it. Aw. See, I think we just need just some patience. We got this. We got this. Let's try it. Let's just try it. Okay. Now, we have to move this decimal place over how many times if we're going into a percent? Okay, because right now is a legit decimal. How many times I got to move it? Okay, remember, percentage. Z. There we go. Not 3 times, just 2 times. Yes. Okay, just 2 times. So if I move this over, 1, 2. Okay, remember, when we're talking percents, we're meaning out of 100. How many zeros does 100 have? It has 2 of those bad boys, right? So that's why we're moving it to the right. To go from a decimal to a percent, you move 2 places to the right, or you can just multiply by 100. Boom. All right. So we have 1.90. The reason why I'm not adding a 1 to that 0, because I want to round it to the 100 spots. The reason why I'm not adding a 1 to that 0, because the next digit is a 1. Anything that's a 4, 3, 2, 1, that means I'm just going to ignore it and just focus on the numbers that I see for my 100 spot. Now, if this one right here was like a 7, that means I would add 1 to that 0 to make it into a 91. Okay? Anything that's a 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, that means you're going to add 1 to the previous spot. Makes sense? Okay. All right. Aw, okay. About to make me cry, girl. We can't be having tears in here. All right, so we are looking at 1, as soon as my pen starts writing, 1.90. I'm going to say equivalent. 1.90. Woo, almost forgot about the percent sign. Okay. So, as long as we understand the word is equals, what percent, 1, 0, what, just the word what is going to be your x. Of means multiplication, and then whatever numbers they give us. If they give it to us as a percent, we need to make that percent into a decimal, okay? So we can find that exact decimal. All right, rounding up, yes. All right, okay. Whoa, math guy, what we got? Calculator, that calculator cost, when I was in school, Jesus. Inflation. All right, so let's do some other ones. And I wasn't sure how much room I was going to take. Ooh, keep changing everything. So some of it is already typed up, and I'm just going to tape it in. If you guys can tap a little bit. I was like, oh, math guy, what's happening here? Okay, if you can tap up just a little bit, and while I'm setting up the next bits and pieces, I don't even think I need that much tape. That would be awesome. Because in addition to this, we're going to be working on percent increase and decrease, and that will be the last thing we're going to do tonight. So we're not going to be doing a midnight run of math today, but we are going to try to do some math, okay? So we have that and that. And I'm going to try to make these examples as real as I possibly can. You guys, I appreciate this. And I try as best I can to, one, mix things up, two, also make it a little bit challenging. Just try to make it a little bit challenging, and then I try to do as many word problems as I can possible. Okay? But I am not going to keep, as they like to say, beating a dead horse. Like it's dead. Leave it alone. All right? All right, good. And it's okay. It's okay. But see, here's the thing. You're doing exactly the same thing. Okay? It's exactly the same process. They can use any kind of metrics. They can use interest. They can use pricing. They can use cattle, whatever they want. It's going to be the same process. All right. So we have 16 inches is 35% of what? Okay. What would my setup look like? You're a dead horse. No, it's okay. See, look, one thing is when you come here, I'm going to raise you up as best I can. But if you don't believe in yourself, I can. Yes, what would the equation look like? What would the whole entire equation look like? So you have to believe that you can do it. Because trust me, when I was growing up, I used to suck at math. I say this almost every live, and I do mean it. I was terrible. And we didn't have like special ed, like the way special ed is nowadays. So I probably did have autism or some kind of something. But my thing is, it was something that I wanted to do. I wanted to be good at it. I wanted to be good at stuff. And trust me, I know with having a concussion, I played basketball. I used to be a professional basketball player. And I know what it feels like to have a concussion and feeling like you just cannot put pieces together. But through practice and through time, I feel like I'm starting to get back to myself again, So I get it, okay? But that does not give us any excuse that we can't. Everybody can learn, okay? Anybody can learn. We just all learn differently, okay? All right, thanks. All right, and now look at me, teaching math. Crazy. That's just God right there. Because I don't know how the hell I got here. All right. Yep. Yeah, and sometimes that happens. All right, so here we go. So we have 16 inches. So that'll be my 16. That's equals 35%. And I saw a couple of you guys put it up there. I want to give credit when credit is due. Where is it? Okay, so Danny had like 35 out of 100. Okay. Hey, Marianne. I didn't see you sneak in here. Okay. With a 35 out of 100. Remember, we can have these as decimals. Is it Uzo? Uzu Makey forever? Mackie? Uzo Mackie? Miki? Am I saying it correctly or incorrectly? Please correct me. Because there's power in names. Yes, fill artists. Good. So we have our 0. Oops. That's where the tape is. 0.35 of, that means multiplication of what, and we don't know what is, so we're going to put an X. All right. So now, just like, what was that person that had a division? Yep, I think it was Uzo. Uzu has it with the division. Someone else had the division. Oh, it was you both times. Okay. And I think that was it. I had it both times. So yes, so now we're going to divide both sides by 0.35. So these two can cancel out. So now we just have to figure out what 16 divided by 0.35 is. And remember, if we are going to do long division, okay, we have to get it out of this division form for our divisor. So we have to move it 2 places over. So it would look something like this. This would be 35 here, but our dividend is going to be 1600, then the decimal place. Because if you move 2 places to the right for the divisor, you have to move 2 places to the right for the dividend. The dividend is one underneath. Okay? Now, if you're just like, yeah, I'm not doing that, Audrey. Right now, I'm going to whip out the handy dandy calculator and then multiply by 100. Am I multiplying by 100? Yes or no? Ooh. Yeah, this is the hard way. Okay. So Chris is saying yes. Amy's saying yes. So let's take a look at the question. Is it saying of what percent? Or is it just saying of what? Okay. Yeah, it's just saying of what. It's not saying a percent. Okay. So basically, whatever X is, that's going to be your answer. And a couple of you guys already had it with 45.70. Let's take it to the 100 spot. And since it's an approximation, I'm going to use my waves. Okay, so some of you guys already have that, which is good. Okay. So Yando, why does the question does not give a definite answer? Yep. So no need to include the inches? You don't have to put the inches. You want, you can. because it just basically says of what. All right. Okay, so user 5377, good job. Okay, so we didn't have to divide by 100 because we were not looking for the percentage. They just wanted basically the number that they originally had. If they multiplied it by 35%, gave us 16 inches. Okay. All right. So, sliding over. So $73 is what percent of 125? Yes, of always means multiplication. Good. Is it Alea? Okay. Yep, good job. All right, so 35% of X is a percent, bro. Yeah. So now we're looking for the percent, bro. So 73 is what percent of 125? Now this is real world here. Real world. What do we got? Okay. Is it exactly 58, Roy? Or is there like a little bit after it? Because you could say about 58%, and I'll be like, yeah, you got that. Oops. No, we don't have centimeters. Okay. Is that Bicky Nation? Bicky? That has like 58.4%. You can drop your question mark. How to change any into a fraction? Can you say how to change any whole number into a fraction? Oh, okay. Yeah, give me a moment. I'll show you after this one. Okay. So 58.2, Roberto. So we got 42%. We got 58.4, Ashley. Okay, about 58, Andrea. All right. Let's set it up. There we go. Okay. All right. So 73. So we're saying 73 is what percent of, means multiplication, 125. So if I divide both sides by 125, the reason why the 125, because we want to get X by itself. So 73 divided by 125. If you do the division, it actually gives me 0.584. But since they're asking for what percent, we need to multiply this by 100. If we multiply it by 100 or remember the movement, it will give you 58.4. And we put our percent. Okay. How are we feeling? Why by 100? Because anytime we think of a percent, it's always out of 100%. Okay, it's always going to be out of 100%. How long have I been teaching math for? 22. You're welcome. Of course. Of course, I can do one more problem similar to this. I'll do that. So there was one person that had a question about how to, I'm going to put it up here. All right, so say that I have 0.4 and how to turn that into a fraction. Now, 0.4 is the same as 4/10. Remember, when it comes to your placeholding, there's no such thing as once. This is the tenths place. So that means it's going to be 4 out of 10. And if you notice, 4 and 10, they both have 2 in common. So that means if I divide this by 2 and divide this 10 by 2, I will be able to reduce that fraction of 4/10 to 2/5. Okay. 22 years, Jay. Yep. 22 years. What, do you think I was born yesterday? Yep. 22 years. All right. Almost forgot who asked that question, if that made sense. Who asked? All right. It is so easy. Well, it's just step by step. Okay, so Sophie girl. All right. Bree, how are you? I just noticed. Sorry, I'm like catching up on there. They've been lifesavers. Oh, good. I'm glad that helps. All right, let's see if I can do one more. And we'll put it all in here. Let's try something that's also very realistic. Okay. Let's try this one. I'm gonna stick down here. Oops. Okay, so what percent of 38 is 15? Oh, why did I reduce it by 2? Well, 4 and 10 are both even numbers. So if they're both even numbers, they're definitely divisible by 2. So that's why I used 2. Okay. Yep, and to get a whole number, yes, you would just divide them. Yep. You got this. I don't even know why you hanging out here. Okay, no problem. You're gonna guess about 30%? Okay. Jay is saying 39.47%. Okay. Bundles of blessings. How are you? About 39.5%. Okay. All right. Discount therapy. Lovely to see you too. So 39.4%. All right. All right. So let's take a gander. Let's take a look here. Sorry, I had to uncap my pen. All right. Yep, and you will definitely do the division. Okay, what percent? So that's my x of, that's multiplication. We're multiplying that x to the 38 is equals 15. Okay, so in order for me to get x by itself, I have to divide the 38. So 38s are going to cancel out. leaving me with x equals. And then most of the time, you're probably going to have this on the test, or because you're not going to be able to use a calculator. But it's roughly 0.39473. I'm going to say 37. But since they said what percent, okay, let me zoom in. So since they said what percent, this is when you can either do one of two things. You can either multiply by 100. Anytime they ask what percent, you should be thinking, I need 100. That's going to be out of here. Either I'm going to be multiplying by 100, or I'm going to be moving that decimal place to the right 2 times. So if I do that, I'm going to get, like everyone's been saying, I'm going to put it underneath my little thing here, x, and I'm going to use my approximation because we're rounding. If I move over 1, 2, that means that decimal point is in between the 9 and the 4. So that gives me 39 point, and I'm going to stick with 47 if I want to keep it to the 100th spot, because if I look here at 3, remember, if it's 4 and below, we leave it alone. So that means we're canceling out that, and we're just leaving it right there. Only thing that's missing is my percent sign. Okay. Do I have any videos on function notation? There should be a video on function notation on there. I remember seeing notes. All right. Okay, how are we doing? Hey, Miss Kickbutt. Pleasure. Well, I want to keep it to just 2 decimal places after J. So that means I need to look at this spot here. I need to look at the 3. So I can keep it to 2 decimal places after we moved. Okay. Okay. I actually did discounts and percentages last night. So you're going to find the video of that on my YouTube channel. Yep, you're just 1 day short. Okay. So if you need, just type in Audrey Codner, Audrey Codner, and go to ACG Math Tutoring. I have a couple channels out there. You go to this one, and the most recent, or the second most recent video will be last night's. So you can definitely get the discounts on there. Let me see. I guess you have a fraction of a percent. It's been a while. Yep, you can have a fraction of a percent. Yes, you can. What is the highest math I do? I do up to pre-calculus, but I do also tutor those that are taking intermediate math in community college. And lately I've been doing a little bit of statistics, and I'm learning that I don't like statistics. I'm not going to sit here and try to lie to you. I'm learning really fast and furious that I do not like statistics. All right. I know. Maybe it's because it's like close to the end of the day. I'm always getting that one student. I'm like, dude, why? Like, just why? Because statistics, you can make any number turn into your favor anytime. It doesn't even matter. It really doesn't. So you can say, 4 out of how many people don't like this ice cream, but that means 6 out of the other 10 do. But that's how our society is. All right, so what I'm actually taping in right now, let me unzoom just a lot, is we're going to work on percent of increase and decrease. Right? I don't know how these people do it either. There's a special kind of person. They're just like, I love stats. Good. Take my money. If I have a kid that needs help with statistics, give them their information, and I will definitely send her some clients. I will happily do that. Aww. Now, also, Shortcake, if you're here, now if it's just the whole statistics, are you following a blessed RN? Because if you're not, follow her. Because if it's all about dosage, she will definitely help you out. Okay. Yeah. Make sure you follow her, a blessed RN. Because she's been helping a lot of people with the statistics part of their test. So definitely follow her. There's like a list of people I will follow. All right. Okay. Now, we are working on percent of increase and decrease. So think about it. You know, like how you're going out shopping and 1 minute you think it's a sale. Like Black Friday. Black Friday is the biggest joke alive because they'll raise the price weeks before Black Friday comes, and all of a sudden, oh, it's such a great deal, and it's the same blessed price, right? They try their blessing hearts. So college all together. Yeah, definitely follow her. She might encourage you to go back if that's what you want. Okay? So when you're doing, I'm going to try to put it all on the same page. I'm trying my best, people. All right, so percent of change, increase or decrease, is a mathematical concept that represents the degree of change over time. AKA, if we start at one price and it went up to another price, we want to know what the percent of that increase is. So, like, for instance, the price of a painter increases from $40 to $50, right? What is the percent increase? So you take the new price, which is the $50, subtract from the original price, which is the $40, and you divide it by the original price, and then multiply it by 100, right? So 50 minus 40, that'll give you 10. 10 over 40, that's 1/4. 1/4 times 1/4 times 100, that will give you 25. So it's a 25% increase. All right. A lot of people want to say, oh, they increased their price 10%. No. It's almost like when I have students and they're just like, oh, Miss Audrey, or Miss Codner, I'm only like short like 2 points. And I'm like, baby doll, it's not 2 points, it's 2%. There's a lot of stuff that can happen to raise it up 2%. It's not just putting 2 points on a thing. And you trying to explain it every time makes my head hurt. Okay? But that's basically what you're doing. Let me highlight this part for you. So if you're ever looking for the percent of change, and this actually came out of a ASVAT book. Okay, so this is one of those problems. They'll definitely have that there. So we're doing, okay, we have the percent of change is the new number minus the original number, divided by the original number, and then you multiply by 100. Okay, so I'm going to show you a couple examples. I'm going to tape in a couple examples. Let's see what we can do. So this is the old version of copy and paste. Because years ago, it used to be us and that Elmer's glue. But, you know, tape just made things so much simpler. Do you have a tutor for Calc 2? I do. I do have a friend of mine that does Calc 2. If you're serious about it, please message me. Okay? Definitely message me if you're serious about it. Because I can message him tonight. Okay. Can you write a name in the chat when you're done? Sure. Oh, this was a blessed RN. Sometimes she pops in here. And sometimes she might be on tonight if you want to double check. Okay? Because remember, this is going to be recorded. So if you need to go and double check to see if she's on tonight, because I know she was on last night. So definitely take a look. You're welcome. Oh, yep. Because see, remember, a lot of the stuff that we do in math, you also do in econ. Yeah, so definitely. Do you have a tutor for the ASVAT test by chance? Yeah, me. I tutored one person actually for literally an hour and a half. And I think we got a lot of stuff done. And she was like, I just need to pass with like a 40. And I'm like, okay, you'll be able to do it if you just tweak this, tweak that, and all that. And 2 days later, she took the test and she got a 55. So imagine what could happen if we worked together longer. So, that, okay, sure. Okay, not a problem. Next Tuesday, what's up with everyone the last time? Everybody's doing it last minute. I'm just taking it next Tuesday. Well, it's not too last minute. Well, we'll talk. All right. In a class, a number of students have been increased from 32 to 36. I know you guys can't see half of everything. Let me do it like this. Yay! Now we all can see. Now we all can join into the group. All right, so again, in a class, a number of students have been increased from 32 to 36. What is the percentage increase? Okay, we know it's an increase because you went from 32 to 36. So we're taking the new number, which is 36, and we're subtracting the original, which is 32, and we're dividing it over, ooh, that was crazy, and we're dividing over the original number, which was 32. And we're going to take that, multiply by 100. Okay. So 36 minus 32 gives me, I know, I'm insulting your intelligence, but tell me what my percentage would be. Let's put it that way. What would my percentage be? I was like, everybody out there? Hey, Cookie. All right. So 36 minus 32. That'll give me what? I think Cookie got that part. Okay. All right, there we go. So 36 minus 32, that'll give us 4. Now we got 4 over 32. 4 over 32, I know they're both even, and I know that 4 times 8 gives me 32. So that means this can actually be reduced by 4. So when I reduce it by 4, I got 1 over 8. Now someone had it. Okay, 1/8. What does 1 divided by 8 give me? What does 1? There you go, Rita. Thank you. There you are. Okay, so 1 over 8 gives us 0.125. Now, I need the percent. So in order for me to get that percent, I either have to move it over 2 places to the right or multiply by 100. That's what we're trying to do. The reason why that 100 is there is to make it into a percent. So what would this be as a percent? There you go, bundles of blessings. Good, Roy. Good. Okay. Yes, it will be. Good. So we moved it over 1, 2. So that means, nice. We have 12.5%. Okay. All right. So noticing the steps. First thing, you want to subtract the numerator. Put it over your denominator. That's where this came from. Then look to see if you can reduce it. Because when you reduce it, even if you didn't reduce it and you just did 4 divided by 32, you'll still get the same answer. Okay? But it seems a lot easier to comprehend when you're able to reduce the fraction. Oh, hold on. Gotta do puzzle piece time. It's like, guys, it's really not rocket science. It's a puzzle piece. There we go. All right. Let's try another one. Down. All right. Oops. Let me straighten that out a little bit more. Okay. So we got the price of gasoline rose. Oh, I wish. rose from $4.50 to $5.40 in 1 month. Okay, that sounds familiar. By what percent did the gas price rise? Okay. So we got another rise. Okay, Roy's saying like 17%. Let's see. Yes, good. So we're taking our $5.40 minus our $4.50. Take that a little crazy here. And it's going to be over what? What's it going to be over? So we got like some 20%, 17%. Okay, which will give you that. Good. So it's always going to be over what your original price is. All right. So I agree with your 5.40. And then minus your 4.50 or $4.50, that does give me 90 cents, a 0.9 divided by 4.50. Okay, so if you got that divided by 4.50, this will give me a 0.2. But that's the decimal. What is it as a percent? So God is good. Make sure we're dividing it by the original. So it started at 450 and it went to 540. Okay. Yes. So this is the same as 20%. Okay. All right. How are we feeling about this? Are we feeling okay? Because I'm thinking about one more, but that one I want you to try to do by yourself. Oh no, Audrey, I can't. No. Let's do a negative. Let's see. I retain the formulas. Yep. And it's true. It's kind of like once you see the formula, you're like, oh, that's what that crazy person, as my math teacher was trying to explain to me. That's why we were doing that. And it's like you can read all the books that you want, but if you don't have someone that kind of like, I don't know, translate the information, you'll be like, you can easily teach yourself incorrectly. And ever since the pandemic, that's what a lot of our kids have been doing, is just teaching themselves, especially when they're doing like credit recovery. All right, I'm going to try to fit everything in motion here. So a shirt was originally priced at $65. It went on sale to $52. What was the percent that the shirt was discounted? Okay, so I'm going to leave you alone. Try to use the previous answers to help you solve. I have 2 answers up here so far, but one of them is correct. So now I have 3 answers up here. Okay, got 4 answers. It's okay, shortcut. Did you find her? But as I said, this is being recorded, so I can definitely put it up later. Okay? No worries, no stress. Okay, so I got Bundles of Blessing. I have Marianne. Is it Vasha? Pog. And I have Roy. Okay. I like to make sure I get people's names correct because there's a lot of power in names. Okay. All right. You guys ready to kind of take a look over? Okay. All right. So, the shirt was originally $65 and it went on sale at 52. So it's not going to be switched around like these were. Okay, so we're starting with the 65 and the 52. So the difference, so we have 65 minus 52, and it's going to be over our original. So the original was 65. 65 minus 52, that gives me my 13. And if we want, we can just do 13 divided by 65, which gives me 0.2. And we want to know the percentage, so if you multiply that by 100, or you just move this over 2 places to the right, you would get your 20%. Yes, good shortcake. I'm so glad. Yes, hold on to that dream, girl. Hold on to that dream. Okay, hold on to that dream. There you go, Marianne. Good. Yep. So, yep, 20% discount. Good job. All right. So that's all we're doing. So shortcake, to catch you up, all you're basically doing when they're talking about percent of increase or decrease, let me slide this down for a moment, kind of zoom in on the highlight. You're basically taking whatever the new amount is minus the original, then it's going to be divided by the original. And the reason why we're multiplying by 100 is to get the percentage. Okay? So always to get the percentage. Okay, I got one more in me. All right. You missed it? It's okay. So, to find the percent of change, we always get the new number. So let's say the price of a printer increased from $40 to $50. I think I said painter last time. Yeah, you can tell I need some sleep. All right, so the new number is 50. The original was 40. 50 minus 40 gives me 10. And you always divide by the original number, which is 40. So it looks like this right here. So 50 minus 40 over 40, that will give us 1/4. And times that 1/4 by 100 will give us 25. So it's a 25% increase. Sure. Oops. Okay. So I got one more problem. Okay. All right, so we got Jason got a raise and his hourly wage increased from $40 to $52. What is the percent of increase? Okay, you're welcome. Okay. So tell me what the percent of increase is. Remember the pattern. New minus original over original times 100. Okay, Can't see the whole question. Let's see. I know, because my crazy Zoom, you're going to be missing quite a bit. How about now? I know, it's really like distant. Okay. Let's try this part. So you're increasing from 40 to 52. So from 40 to 52. So I got a couple answers. Marianne thinks it's 30%. Bundles of Blessings thinks it's 30%. Roy says it's a $12 increase. Okay, we're saying 30%. I think it's a 22.5%, Roy. Okay. All right. Okay, so let's take a look. Let's take a gander. All right, God is Good saying 30%. All right. So if we went, the original was 40 and it went up to 52. Okay, so my new number was the 52. Make sure you guys can see that. Okay. Zoink. All right. So we have our 52 minus the 40. Okay, so it's the new minus the original over the original. The original is 40. And then we're going to multiply by 100 to get the percentage. So 52 minus 40, that gives us 12 over 40. Okay. So even if I reduced that 12/40ths, I think what they have in common is just 2, if I'm not mistaken. So when I reduce it or divide it, I get 0.3. So if I take this 0.3 and I multiply it by 100, I'm going to get 30%. Okay. So how we do this, we can either move that decimal place over 2 places. So if there's nothing there, we put a 0. And the decimal will be replaced with the percent sign. That's how we would get the 30. Okay. Yep, they do have 4 in common. So that'll be 3/10. Good job. All right. How are we feeling? Good? All right. Well, that's what I have for today. Okay, so I think we're good with the basics, right? Okay. All good here, Amy. All right, so we worked on the decimals. I almost lost my mind last night because when I have like an adult and I also have a high school sophomore not knowing how to add, subtract, multiply, or divide decimals, I was like, yeah, maybe Trump's right that we need to uproot the Department of Education. I'm like, how? Because like you deal with money, which we deal with percents a lot, okay? More so than we deal with fractions, believe it or not. Well, kind of ish. All right. But good. This was fun. Good. All right. Math is supposed to not be so like detrimental. All right. But we still are going to work on now. We're going to get back on track for me. And we're going to go back into factoring. Okay. So we're going to go back into factoring because we're going to need it. Because we're going to go into what's called rational functions. Okay, you're probably like, oh dear God, why? Well, because it is in some of these assessments, and it is like a little bit of a bridge between Algebra 1 and Algebra 2, just a little bridge. But it is something that it will be nice to know. Just in case, I'd rather you say, I've seen it before, then say, what is this? It's Marianne, breathe. It's okay. Because I'm going to be here to break it down. So it's not like I'm going to be like, all right, turn to page 48. Do numbers blank through blank odd. And then turn it in at the end of the day. No, I'm going to explain it. Whatever questions you have, you put in the chat. And as soon as I get to it, I'll answer your question. That's what I do. Okay? Yeah, I know. And guess what? That's why a lot of us are sitting here at 10:59 p.m. on a Thursday night. Listen to a crazy black chick talking about percentages. And you should see the numbers. I know I looked when I first came on. I was like, wait, is that about to go to 1,000 people in a live? That's insane for me. But then it just really just comes down to we all had experiences with teachers. Okay. Some are awesome teachers. Some of them, it was tough for them to give us the attention that we needed as individuals because there were so many students in the class. You always had the class clown that went with the attention. You always had this person running around. You always had this person trying to do something. So it was really hard for that one person to control so many different personalities in one classroom. So it just kind of feel like you kind of left out. Right. And it's fine. And I'm telling you, high school and middle school, I was an A student in math, helped teachers. Right. And that's the great thing. But sometimes a lot of people would, yeah. But don't worry. There's going to be a recording, Nicole. So don't worry. I understood it more. Yes, and sometimes just by having a peer explain it, or just having someone like kind of put it in a way that you would understand, just made so much more sense. So sometimes that might have been a teacher, that could be a teacher's aide, or that could have been another student. But like some teachers would take an advantage. They were like, oh, okay, I want you to help this group. They're here to get an education too, like they're not just here to be your TA, So sometimes it gets a little crazy, but we will make it through. I'm trying to make this easy, relaxing, and break it down because we all can learn math. Okay, if I can learn it enough to teach it, and as accurately as I can possible, anybody can learn math. Anybody can do it. How can I go back and look at your whole videos? What do you mean? How can I go back and look at your whole videos? The ones on YouTube, Janice? Oh, awesome. Yeah, just click on the whichever one that you want. Now, this one that I did tonight, give me some time because sometimes it takes a minute. Sometimes it'll be up like the next morning because it takes forever to download. Okay. All right. Okay. Good. I like this. Alrighty. Now, here's my shameless plugs as you guys are doing this. Most of you guys know this already. Now, if you kind of like the setup, other than me taping into the class, into the notebook. If you like the setup of the notebook where you have like a formula section and the step section, I actually created this notebook. Okay, so what I do is I have a collection of all my notes, and what I do in addition to it, it also has a factor sheet. So if you're not very good with multiplication, you have factors from 1 all the way up to 200. Okay, it helps with breaking down radicals. You're going to see a lot of this tomorrow when we go back to rational expressions and also some equations. And then it also kind of gives you some of the reminders of rules of integers, order of operations, properties of exponents, as well as linear and quadratic equations. Then we can also take a look at Pythagorean theorem, SOHCAHTOA, a little bit more of the trig functions, and then also we have volume, surface area, the area of a circle, area of a sector, and arc length. So with this, it has basically students from 7th grade up to adults in mind, because a lot of notebooks nowadays, they're really geared for elementary school kids, so it's just like for you to just make it into a journal and then that's it. But I wanted it to be a little bit more, and to be selfish, I just got sick and tired of my tutoring students not having their notes organized, and they're just like, I don't know how to do this. And I'm like, dude, here's the formula. Make sure that's there and ready to go. All right, these are some of the examples. And then you can just actually just have like a quick look where you don't have to go scamming through all the notes. You can just have a quick reference of the formula, and then you can write out your own steps or write down the steps that the teacher does give. So when it's time for you to do your homework, you can actually do that. Okay? All right. Awesome. I need this for my 7th grader. Perfect. Okay, so it's definitely, if you click on the link in my bio, you can go through my ACG Math Tutoring website. I'm currently working on TikTok to see if I can start selling them on TikTok as well. Right now, I'm waiting for the state to give me my license, my business license, so I can have that. They're taking their sweet behind time because here's the thing. I recently got divorced, so I'm trying to change my name for everything. And it's just been an ordeal ever since. But anyway, that's me in a nutshell. All right, but definitely have this on Amazon. You can click the link on my ACG Math Tutoring website, and it's under the Ultimate Math Notebook in Amazon. Click on it, and it will take you directly to it. It has 3 different covers. This is one of the second to the most popular one. It's coming back in track because I'm using this as an example. So I have this one in 3 covers, but the interior is exactly the same. 100 sheets for the notes, and then we have the reference page. And then I do have one for younger students, 4th through 6th grade. But theirs is not dots. They actually have bigger grid lines than these are. So they can get their practice keeping their numbers in line. So that's there as well. Okay? But if you're thinking about, I know there's some of you guys thinking about doing the ASVAT like next week. If you're not thinking about doing the ASVAT next week and you definitely have some time, I do have some courses with the math, just the math, on my website as well. So I have for the ASVAT, the GED, and I know film artists, I noticed that you bought yours, which is awesome. Nothing for 2nd grade. I haven't done anything with 2nd grade. I usually don't teach 2nd grade, but I guess I'm going to have to do some research and create something for our lovely little 2nd graders. So give me a moment, Shortcake. Give me this summer. I should have something before the school year starts up again. Okay. Good for marketing. Yeah, I'm starting to notice that. But, I'm still learning out because since February, this is when I started doing my my note taking and sharing in my notes. This is still fresh and new. So even though I've been on TikTok for almost 3 years now, but still just trying to know the benefits of it and how I can better support people in one go is just amazing to me. Yes. Oh yeah, not a problem. Okay, cool. Thank you. I will definitely take a look at the message after I'm done here, and I'll respond to you tonight. Hello, Reborn again. Yes, GED math. Yes, ma'am. Yes. So I actually have a couple people right now that we're working on GED. Now I have one person that he's taking his ASVET test on Tuesday. And where else? And then a couple of people are on the community college, and then my generally math 9th through 12th graders. So, thank you. Definitely. And if we ever want to get an ASVAT study group together and they just need assistance, please let me know. Because I'm actually going to try to go to one of my local recruiting areas and just talk to them about possibly getting a ASVET study group going for them. I'm not sure if that's a good idea or not. I don't want to walk into the building and they're like, all right, you're enlisted. And I'll be like, oh, hell no. Hi. My knees cannot do what they used to do many years ago. I mean, I could still put it down in the weight room. That's about it. Yes, please do. Please do. Because I know there's a lot of people, because if they don't pass the test, they'll have to go to some kind of camp. I think it's like in North Carolina for I don't know how many weeks. Okay. And where am I? I'm in Maryland. Where are you, Cookie? Okay. 09 program. Yes, that's what it is. Yes. So there was this one gentleman I was working with. Oh, you're in NY? Oh, okay. Yeah, because I know there's like a couple of people. And if you guys want to take a snapshot of this for a couple people that you might want to follow, there's some people that are nursing. There's another person, but I want to talk to that person before I add them to my list. I think it's called the grammar guy. I think that's what it's called. Let me do a quick check, because he does a lot with the whole entire thing. So not just the math. There is a person. Let me see. Grammar Hero. Okay. I reached out to him before, but he hasn't reached out back. I don't know if he thinks I'm like some kind of groupie or whatever, but I am not. But I just like how he breaks concepts down. So if you guys want to also maybe follow him for the ASVAT. But if you're nursing, a blessed RN is definitely your person. If you're thinking about doing the TEAS test, you can follow my girl Evelyn in Impact Math 19. She usually comes on at 1 p.m. Central Time, which is 2 p.m. Eastern. If you guys need a chemistry tutor, I know sometimes they're far in between nowadays, but Professor TK, she's really good at her stuff. And then if you want to find like something interesting, the summer is coming, you got little ones, and you want to help them build their math skills up early, have them try to learn with the abacus. My friend learning with Lynette, oh my gosh, love her stuff. She is basically modernizing the whole concept, making it more interactive, more fun to learn how to add, subtract, multiply, and divide using an abacus. So if you want to definitely hook up with these people, follow them, take a look at their lives. My friend Lynette, she's always on. Like, she's probably going to be on in the next, 50 minutes or so. Sometimes she goes on at midnight. And you want to learn grammar? I don't know Actually, I do, but I don't know if they're on TikTok. Give me a moment. Let me look through my people and let me see who's doing what. And then I could definitely get you involved in that. Yes. Yes, definitely. Yes, because Learning with Lynette, she's great. And she's got a couple of books out. She actually put her books on TikTok Shop. And she's like starting to get, Lynette. Yeah, Learning with Lynette. Yeah, sometimes she pops in here. I think she might be on live now. Okay. All right. So again, if you need, give me a moment to upload this video so it can be on YouTube, probably like around 4, maybe 5 o'clock in the morning. It might be sooner than that. It all depends on how the video gods are working with me. Tomorrow, I'm only going to be on, because tomorrow's Friday, I'm going to be on at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Okay, because I have students later on in the evenings. So 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I'm going to be on that. Yes. Okay. Hey, Michael. All right. So if you want to do some more, Evelyn is on now, which would be awesome. But if you can subscribe to my YouTube channel, I will greatly appreciate it. And if you have a moment, if you can do a Google review for ACG Math Tutoring, that's my thing. I would greatly appreciate that. I would actually, let me see if I can find the link to put in for you guys, because that will be so useful, so helpful. Because I had a couple people that did that for me already. And I actually got like 3 new leads this week because of the reviews. So you guys are helping me out. On Saturday at 8 p.m. For me, I'm going to go live at 8:30. On Saturday and Sundays, I'll go live at 8:30. I was thinking 8 p.m., but I think 8:30 works best for everyone. Okay. All right. But I am going to reply to you so we can figure you out to get you, make sure you're ready to go for your test coming up for next week. Okay. All right. Okay, guys. Thank you so much for all the likes. I mean, 16.4. I do not deserve this. But thank you. All right. So I will see you guys tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time if you're around. Again, if you're not, it will be recorded. And make sure you just subscribe to the YouTube channel. I was about to say TikTok. Woo. And I'm going to keep working on my end to make sure I give you guys good quality stuff, to make sure you guys feel a little comfortable with your math. But I'm really happy that you guys came out tonight. All right. You guys have a lovely night. Go ahead and go to see my girl, Miss Taylor. Tell her hi from me. And I will see you guys tomorrow. All right. Have a lovely day, evening, afternoon, and I'll see you next time. Take care. Bye now.